What's going on, Falcon fan? It's your boy Ricundo coming back at you with another video. Guys, we are about 1 week away from the start of the season, man. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to say. I'm just can't wait till the season gets started. This is one of the most exciting seasons we don't had from Atlanta Falcons standpoint in a long time. I know you guys feel the same way. I mean, it's a lot of unknowns, let's be honest, right? We don't really know what this team is going to be, but we all got a good feeling that this is going to be something special. But we just got to watch these guys get out there. It's going to start next weekend, it's Thursday, start next Thursday, right? Training camp's going to kick it off, and we're going to get a glimpse and see how these guys are going to attack every day to get better and better and better. But guys, 2023 has potential to be one of these great seasons for our Atlanta Falcons. So guys, today what I really want to talk about, we're so excited about this season, right? So excited about this season, but are the Atlanta Falcons set up for now and the future? And honestly, guys, I believe they are. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of points today why I believe that. And I really want to know if you guys really agree with what I'm thinking. So guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out of here what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about, yes, these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, it's one reason why it's so exciting. You think about it, all the moves the Atlanta Falcons made this offseason, right? This new regime came in, and it was, let's be honest, we didn't know what direction the team was going in. They had 5 guys that was, making most of the salary on the team, right? There was an offensive team, a defensive team. We really didn't know the identity. We had, new coach, new general manager, when that happens, most of the time, it's all about a rebuild, right? That's where the Atlanta Falcons were. But the biggest issue was, the salary cap. They couldn't really come in right away and make big improvements to the team. So they had to, muddle around. Of course, they had to have a conversation with the owner because, these owners get impatient, right? When you're not winning games and things like that. So we had to figure out what these Atlanta Falcons are going to do. And I can tell you, even though they went 7-10 the last 2 seasons, it was really interesting. It was exciting at some points. It was frustrating at some points. That's what the Falcons do to us, make us be frustrated sometimes, right? But at the same time, we knew, it was, it was a light at the end of the tunnel because we could see what this regime was trying to do, right? And I think, guys, they are on the right path, and I'm going to give you 4 points today, and then that 5th point is going to be the question mark, right? We're going to talk about that. But the first reason why I believe that the Atlanta Falcons are really building something for now, right? Because we're excited about 2023, but also something that can sustain for the future. And one reason is because of that clean salary cap, right? Think about it. The salary cap is really clean. Like I said, they went out and they got rid of all those big contracts that they had, or older guys that was really, huge for the Atlanta Falcons and their careers, and Julio Jones and Matt Ryan, of course, guys like Deion Jones, who was there doing that Super Bowl in his first contract, So it was a lot of things that we can take away from those guys. We're going to really appreciate those guys. Those guys going to be Falcons forever. But, it was time for a change, and Atlanta Falcons had to do something. Of course, we had all that dead cap money because we owe those guys so much. But coming into this season, right, making all the moves they made, and the cap is still pretty clean, right? So, not just of the moves they made, good, solid free agent signing, guys that's going to help us move towards the future. Some older guys that's on 1-year deals that can really contribute to this team this year because of the veteran leadership they're going to bring to the team. But guys that's going to be here for a while as well. So you got to love the additions they made and the mixture that they made. And they was able to keep the salary cap clean. So next season, they can even, make the team even better going forward, right? And they can pay guys that they probably will have to pay that contract coming up, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But the biggest thing for this first point I want to talk about is just the salary cap is really clean, and that's going to help these Atlanta Falcons build for the future, right? They don't have, a whole bunch of guys that they gotta pay that's spending a lot of money, that's so top heavy. Usually that's the quarterback position, and definitely we're gonna address that. That's gonna be my last point. We'll talk about the quarterback position, but right now, if you're looking at this team, the Atlanta Falcons are really good because of the clean salary cap. And you got to tip your hat off the way Terry Fontenot and the front office staff was able to do it and build a team around these guys and somehow keep that salary cap clean, which is really interesting because he came from the New Orleans Saints where their salary cap is, a mess every season. But, they was competitive, so, it worked. But I like the way, the direction the Atlanta Falcons is going with this salary cap. So, guys, the first point that I want to make is that salary cap is really clean, right? The second point I want to make is that they actually got cornerstone guys on both sides of the ball that they can build on, like for now and for the future. And we'll talk about the defensive side first. Of course, you got Grady Jarrett, who's only 29-year-old, right? Still, trying to get better, still has a lot to show, still in his prime, in my opinion, still can get better. If you look at a guy like Calais Campbell, they brought in, still playing. So I still see Grady Jarrett still having, more football ahead of him. And he's one of the cornerstone guys that we have on defense that they decide to keep. Yes, he's from that old regime, one of those big contracts that we had, but definitely a guy that they decide to keep. And Grady Jarrett is one of those guys. Another guy is AJ Terrell, who definitely is coming up on a contract extension. That's one of the guys I was talking about. So going back to their first point, they're able to keep the salary cap clean. You got a guy like AJ Terrell that's here that they're gonna have to pay, but it's gonna be okay because the way they got the salary cap, paying AJ Terrell should not be an issue. So he's coming up, and if you look at down the list how they set the their draft picks up and the salary cap up, it seems like they'll be able to kind of do this. Of course, they're gonna have to make some tough decisions later on down the road, but right now the way it's set up, AJ Terrell should not be an issue. He just need to go out and do his thing, ball out. Of course, they picked up his fifth-year option for next season, but I anticipate them to get something done maybe this season or before the season starts next year for AJ Terrell. So he will not be playing in that fifth-year option. This is my opinion. The other guy they just signed, Jesse Bates, right? They just signed Jesse Bates, 26-year-old. He's going to be here for the future. Just signed a long-term deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Look like he's been in the league for a while, which he has, 5 years, but coming over to these Atlanta Falcons, still in his prime, just starting to scratch the surface of how, potential that he has, right? He's going to just get better and better. Already considered a veteran on this team because the team is so young, but bringing in a guy like Jesse Bates is definitely going to help out that as well. And then you look at guys that they also got young guys, right? Not cornerstone, but young guys. You hoping that they can develop and get better. Guys like Armor Ebiketie, right? Young guy going into his second season this year, right? Second round pick. Hopefully he could have that year jump from year 1 to year 2. Troy Anderson is in the same boat, can have that jump from year 1 to year 2. And then Richard Grant going to his third season, getting beside a guy like Jesse Bates. So think about it, guys. 3 young guys that still have potential to grow. 3 cornerstone guys that they already got that can groom those guys. I mean, think about it. That's 6 guys right there on defense that we believe in. And then I left some guys out, of course. Still got some holes to fill, but if you just go with those 6 guys right now, that's a good start for these Atlanta Falcons for now and for the future. Right? If you go to the offensive side of the ball, It's real easy to look at that, right? Because you look at the first 3 picks of this regime, right? They pick guys in the top 10: Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson, right? 3 guys that, if they live up to their draft pick, you already where you need to be with every one of those guys, right? Kyle Pitts, called him a unicorn, draft number 4 overall. Drake London, really, I think he's going to have a big year this year, being that wide receiver 1. And what can we say about Bijan? All the things that he's able to do. If you look at the offensive line, we got Christian Lindstrom that's already there, one of the best guards, in my opinion, might be the best guard in the NFL, right? They locked his running mate to him to the side for another 3 seasons. The jury's still out on Drew Dalman, but we'll see what he ends up being. Of course, you got Jake, probably the elder statesman of this team, Jake Matthews. Don't know how much longer he has, but if you look at the bloodline, how long his uncles and his father played, could be for years to come for Jake Matthews. Not an all-time great or anything like that, but a steady left tackle that doesn't miss games and really, anchors the left side of that offensive line. And then bringing in a young guy like Matthew Bergeron. We'll see what he's able to turn into, but you like the direction that the Atlanta Falcons going in the offensive line. Right, so those are the 3 guys those are the 5 or 6 guys that I'm talking about offensive ball. So you think about it, you got offense 6 or 7 guys on defense, by 6 or 7 guys on offense. Guys, those are cornerstone guys, right? I forgot guys. Of course, I didn't mention Tyler Algier, right? I didn't even mention him. But we got to see what's going to happen, right, with all those guys. All right. The third point I'm going to make is great culture, right? If you look at what Arthur Smith has built with this team, right, you see the competition factor, right? Him and Terry Fontenot continue to turn over the roster. Nobody gets comfortable bringing competition every year, probably in every position, making these guys compete for their jobs. Let them know that, your job's not safe. That's how it should be in NFL, right? You don't want nobody to get comfortable thinking that they safe, right? You come out and you compete and you earn your spot. And if you're good, it shouldn't be an issue, right? That's what you like to see. You love the culture. I mean, I thought last training camp was one of the most competitive training camps that I have seen for the Atlanta Falcons. And I can tell you this one's probably going to be just as competitive because there's so many guys that's trying to make that 53-man roster. So you love that kind of culture that Arthur Smith had created. And you love that the belief that these guys really believe that they can be great, right? If you just listen to the whole team, everybody's sounding the same, giving the same speech, right? They love the way they're going about their business. And I believe that that's great culture from what Arthur Smith is bringing to the team. Gotta love that, and we're just going to see what happens with it. Starting this season, because this, in my opinion, the first season they can really see what they all about. All right. The 4th point, of course, is they have established an identity of how they want to play. Right. Everybody knows when they play Atlanta Falcons, it's going to be physical. Arthur Smith, old offensive lineman, wants to come in and be dominant in the trenches. You see how dominant the offensive line was last year. You look at the moves that they made this season on the defensive side of the ball. They're trying to be more physical on the defensive side of the line in the trenches, and that's what you like. Trying to establish that identity to be played from the inside out, be physical up in the front. Everybody knows that's really how you dominate football games anyway. If you got a good, solid offensive line, a strong defensive line, that's 75-85% of the battle, right, in the trenches. So if you can do that, I love the way the identity that Arthur Smith created, being able to run the ball, and hopefully this year being able to stop the run. That's going to be the key. Of course, you got to start to get off the pass on the defensive side of the ball, but I love the identity that Arthur Smith is trying to create here, and that's why I believe they're set up for now, 2023, and for the future. All right, let's get into this last point. You notice when I talked about the cornerstone guys on offense and defense, I did not mention our quarterback, and I'm just being honest. I believe in Desmond Ridder. I really do. I believe he's going to have a really great season for us this year. But at the same time, it's still a question mark. We got to be able to let him play. That's what it's all about. He only played 4 games, so you can't go ahead and check it off and say that he's going to be the franchise quarterback, but you can't definitely say he's not either. So that's why you got to let him play, let him prove it to us. I believe he's going to go out there and he's going to ball out, but he still has to prove it, and that's going to be the last piece for this Atlanta Falcons team, right? They got to find that franchise quarterback, and hopefully it's Desmond Ridder. Because if it is, well, go back to that first point when they're talking about that clean cap that Atlanta Falcons have. They got Desmond Ridder for 2 more seasons. So if Desmond Ridder can turn out to be the guy that we all hope he could be, and this team really believes in this guy, they constantly talks about his leadership, right, and what they think he's going to do. He's the guy. He's going to lead this team. Everybody believes in him. I believe in him. I think a lot of you guys believe in him as well, but he has to prove it, right? We have to get that franchise quarterback. That's going to be the last piece for this team, right? If they can do that, they can just say Desmond Ridder turns out to be that franchise quarterback for us. Yes, this Atlanta Falcons team is definitely built for now, because they definitely have an opportunity to get to the playoffs this season, and then for the future, you have your franchise quarterback locked up still on the small salary, because we know when the quarterback get paid, it changed the way teams have to build their team because of the quarterback salary. But at this point right now, the Atlanta Falcons have an opportunity to put a lot of good pieces around a guy like Desmond Ridder, and if they're able to do that, I think it's going to be awesome for us. So guys, yes, the question of the day: is the Atlanta Falcons built for now and the future? And based off the things that I just laid out to you guys, in my opinion, I believe they are. They got all the pieces they need. Some people can still poke holes and your franchise and things like that. And of course, there's still some room for improvement, right? The biggest thing is a lot of these guys got to go out and prove it, right? We got to see Arthur Ebiketie and Troy Anderson grow. That's one of the things that's got to be a key, right? We have to see that. We got to see AJ Terrell continue to be, really good, right? That's what we need to see. We got to see Kyle Pitts get back to his dominance that he won his first season, right? Which was not his fault. We already talked about that. It was not Kyle Pitts' fault, but hopefully, the young Sidney Carter Desmond Ridder can get him the ball to show you why he was picked number 4 overall, right? That offensive line got to continue to block like it's supposed to, right? That pass rush got to start to get after the quarterback more, right? We got to get away from having 20 sacks a year. That's no way you can have a winning formula with that. So I'm not saying that the Atlanta Falcons is a finished product, but I believe that they have all the tools, especially the moves that they made this offseason, and the way they're building this team is definitely set up for the now and the future. So guys, let me know what you think about that. I thought it was really interesting to just sit back thinking about this team and think about how bright the future is for these Atlanta Falcons. All we need is Desmond Ridder to hit, man, and if he does, people better be watching out for these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, that's all I have. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.